Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7 car reviews. So we are currently continuing the mini series within a series, reviewing all of the Nissan Skyline generations. So far I've reviewed the hardtop, the Camry, the Super Silhouette and the R32 GTR. So up next, as a natural order is the R33 GTR. What a lot of people class really as the kind of ugly duckling of the bunch, but does it deserve that reputation? So if you've never joined me for a car review, let's go and take you through how this works. So we have the bog standard car straight out of the box, no tuning, no upgrades, and it does a hot lap around the Nordschleife. We'll then see where it is on our hot lap leaderboard before fully modifying it. Again, no tuning involved, so it'll just be full modifications and out on track at the high speed ring. There we'll do our modified lap time leaderboard and we'll see where it ranks on there. So let's talk about the bog standard R33 GTR, and obviously with the comparison to the R32 that we reviewed only a few days prior to this one. So what does it feel like to drive? In all honesty, I'm going to say it straight up here, it feels like a heavier version of the R32 GTR. I'm not quite sure if it does actually have a weight difference, but it definitely feels a lot more bulkier and a lot heavier through the corners. And I feel like when you instantly get in it and you have to adapt to that extra weight, you definitely, err on the side of caution. It just definitely feels very, very bulky, and like you can't really just throw it into the corners as easily as the R32. However, once you do adapt to the weight of this car and the feeling of this car, in all honesty, it felt overall better to drive than the R32 model. Overall, I'd say it just feels a lot more refined, and in all honesty, this car sits between two very legendary GTRs, that being the R32 and the R34, which are, universally loved and praised for many different reasons, with this one being always kind of overshadowed. And in all honesty, I really did enjoy driving this car. Yes, it wasn't as simple to jump in and drive as the R32. Like I said, that weight definitely gives you a different feeling. And when you go from one to the other, kind of adapting to the extra weight really is a bit of a weird thing at first. But once you kind of get in the flow of this car, it definitely does overall feel better than the R32. So if I had to, do a bit of a, head-to-head comparison of which one I prefer to just drive and throw through the corners, as well as which one do I feel more confident in, I'd honestly say once you get used to it, the R33 is a much better package than the R32 GTR. It just feels overall more refined through the corners. And another place it takes away from the R32 has to be the top speed. You just feel like you're going a lot quicker in the standard version of the R33 GTR. The only downside is because of the extra weight and such, it doesn't feel like it accelerates any quicker. In fact, it almost feels a bit slower out of the corners. But once you're hitting those medium to kind of, high speed corners, this car just feels much faster. And in fact, that is one thing I noticed. I was hitting some of the same corners I did with the R32 GTR much quicker than I did in that car. So overall, the R33 is just a much more complete package overall compared to the R32 GTR. So if you're not someone that's massively into Skylines or GTR cars, you may not understand that the R33 is kind of seen by a lot of people as the kind of boring middle one between the R32 and the R34. I did slightly touch on this earlier, but overall for me, I just do not understand why there is so much kind of dislike for this car in comparison. I wouldn't say it's massively disliked. There's, at the end of the day, it still retains that boxy, typical Skyline look, but it's definitely not as loved as the R32 and the R34. And in all honesty, I genuinely really like the look and the style of an R33. I just feel like it took everything that was good about the R32, made it bulkier, made it more aggressive looking, and just absolutely looks stunning because of it. So in terms of the road car styling, I'd honestly have to say, and you know, you can hold me to this one or you can absolutely rip into me for this one, but I genuinely think the R33 may just be the best looking Skyline model ever made. Whether that be in, you know, street trim or race trim or anything like that, there's just something about the extra aggression over the R32, but the simplicity before the R34. For me, the R34 got very, very bulky and very aggressive looking, where the R33 just kind of seems like a bit more of an aggressive version of the R32. And I really, really like the style. It wasn't too over the top, it wasn't too in your face, but it took cues from the R32 and just made them slightly more aggressive, and it sits in that perfect middle ground of looking fast, looking aggressive, but not too over the top. So the standard version of the R33, what do I have to say about this? Overall, it is just a better car within Gran Turismo 7 at least than the R32. It feels faster, it feels much better to drive, and once you kind of get used to that bit of extra weight, in all honesty, you're going to find that it flows through the corners with no problems at all. It's a fantastic car. So in standard trim, where does this car rank on our Laptime leaderboard? So it sits in the 500 category along with the R32, and as you can see, it is currently 6th place with a time of 8 minutes 4 seconds .501, only less than 2 seconds slower than the Z Performance from 2023, and it is faster than the Carrera RS from 1992, as well as being around about 6 seconds faster than the R32 GTR. However, we couldn't just leave it there, could we? We had to go full-blown race car, and this for me is when the R33 really, really looks the part. It is the best looking Skyline race car I think I've ever seen. There's just something about, if you ever see the JGTC kitted cars, that looks ultra aggressive and ultra race worthy. As much as I absolutely love the iconic R32 GTR in its race trim with its Calsonic livery and such, there's just something about the R33 that absolutely suits the racing kits that were put on them. They look ultra aggressive, ultra racy, and just look like a kind of throwback to those silhouette cars. So maybe something akin to the Super Silhouette, which I've reviewed previously. They just look very, very good. Obviously within GT7 we don't have the full race car available. We do have to basically, you know, kit out a street car, but it definitely feels the part when you're driving. And the customization on this car is fantastic, and overall on this lap it was a very, very fast car, hitting around about 220 miles an hour in the straights, and through the corners it was amazing. So there we have it. Overall it ranks 3rd and is currently our fastest non 1.27 car that we've currently modified and tested. This one here, as you can see, is putting around about 30 to 40 extra brake horsepower out over the R32, and in fact in fully modified form it's faster than the Chevy Corvette C8 Stingray, which is very, very impressive, being around about 5/10ths faster than the R32. So there we have it. That is another Skyline GTR review, this time being what a lot of people think is the ugly duckling of the bunch, the R33 GTR. And honestly, after driving it within GT7, I feel like I've refound that love for this car, which was there in the early days of Gran Turismo. For me personally, I will never understand why people dislike this model as much as they do. It's an absolutely beautiful car to look at. It's amazing to drive within the game, and in all honesty, it's definitely deserving of that GTR badge on the back. So that's going to be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications on so you don't miss an upload from me. I upload GT7 and motorsport content each and every day for your viewing pleasure. Thank you to my sponsors, the Controller People and Poggers, for helping me out with the channel. Don't forget to check out my Twitter, Discord and donation link down below. Peace.